Samar Island is the third largest island in the Philippines and has one of the most extensive forest over limestone ecosystems in the country. This ecosystem is home to a wide array of uniquely adapted flora and fauna. Samar Island is known to be one of the centers of botanical diversity in the Philippines and has been nominated as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site for its exceptional natural beauty and precious biodiversity. For these reasons, Conserve Kaigangan, a biodiversity research program, was established. Kaigangan is a Samar local word that means forest over limestone. Our research program's mission is to assess and conserve the biodiversity in Samar Island's forest over limestone towards its sustainable management. One of our program's projects is the assessment of biodiversity and community structure in forest over limestone ecosystems. This component of our research aims to determine plant diversity and vegetation structure in various habitat types in forests over limestone, to determine animal diversity associated with forest over limestone, to identify functional classification of vegetation with its associated animal diversity, and to analyze the environmental factors influencing the prevailing structure of the biota. We conducted a comprehensive biodiversity assessment of forests over limestone in the municipalities of Paranas, Taft, and Giwan with remarkable findings. A combined total of 71 plant species were recorded from these municipalities, with at least 3 tree species classified as vulnerable based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine plants. A total of 52 terrestrial vertebrate animal species were also recorded, including 5 amphibian species, 15 reptile species, 20 bird species, and 12 mammal species, with conservation statuses ranging from threatened to endangered and critically endangered, based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine fauna. This knowledge will empower our stakeholders in these areas to make appropriate research-based conservation efforts for the protection of these ecosystems that harbor an assemblage of rare, endemic, and economically important flora and fauna. Through this program, people will be equipped with knowledge on forests over limestone biodiversity, including the ecosystem services that it can offer to the community. We at Conserve Kaigangan continue to further raise awareness and capacitate national and local government agencies, especially local communities, living in and around Samar's Kaigangan.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kaigangan Biodiversity Webinar Series. In March 2022, Ms. Elaine presented about the biodiversity of forests over limestone in Samar Island Natural Park, or also known as the SINP. Her study aimed to provide information on the outcomes of the plant in animal biodiversity in SINP. Second, to describe the tree community structure in SINP. Third, to highlight the significance of the nomination of SINP as a UNESCO Natural Heritage Site. This was conducted specifically in Paranas and Taft, Eastern Samar, a province in the Philippines located in the Eastern Visayas region. Some of the highlight of the results of her study are the identification of some ecologically important amphibians, for example, the Philippine endemic Platymantis guentheri. In terms of reptiles, a very interesting one example is the Lycodon dumerili, which exhibits a widespread distribution and has been documented throughout the Mindanao Paeg, or the Pleistocene Aggregate Island Complex. Ms. Elaine discusses also about her interesting findings on birds, for example, the Bucerus hydrocorax semigaleatus, also known as the Philippine hornbill, a large species of hornbill endemic to the Philippines. In terms of flora, she found this new island record species, for example, the Tectaria calcarea, a fern or herb species with native range in the Philippines. Overall, Ms. Elaine emphasized that SINP is indeed worthy of its nomination as a UNESCO Natural Heritage Site because of its natural and cultural significance. The following month, Ms. Ren D. Obenya successfully presented a very good study on some threatened woody plant species of forest over limestone in the Philippine Islands. The study determined the threatened woody plant species in the forest over limestone in the Philippines and discussed the threats of the forest over limestone in the country. And of course, Samar Island is one of her study sites in addition to Cebu and Batangas sites. Ms. Ren presented the list of critically endangered species based on the Philippine DO Red List and the IUCN Red List. She also made an emphasis on economic uses of some of the identified threatened woody plant species in her study sites. For example, the Shirrea nigrocensis, a Philippine endemic dipterocarp species, and our very own Tectona philippinensis with known natural populations in Batangas and in Mindoro. The third one is the Aquilaria cumingiana, a source of agarwood, a highly prized resin with many economic values. And the fourth example is the Hopea philippinensis, which is also a Philippine endemic dipterocarp species. Part of the study is the identification of threats and conservation concerns in the study site. For example, the limestone quarrying, deforestation, illegal logging, among others. Ms. Ren concluded the presentation by highlighting the potential contribution of her study to sustainable development goals. In May 2022, UPLB Assistant Professor Deza Marie Antoinette Fernandez gave us new insights into biodiversity of forest over limestone in Caliguan Island, Guiuan, Eastern Samar, Philippines. She also did biodiversity assessment in the study site for both flora and fauna. Interestingly, Assistant Professor Fernandez recorded 41 plant species belonging to 18 families, of which 5 species are Philippine endemics, 9 threatened species based on the IUCN Red List, and 5 threatened species based on the DAO 2017-11 Red List. And these are some of the photographs of the plant species she identified. Walachodendron salibicum, which is locally known as banuyo, Aquilaria cumingiana, which is one of the agarwood-producing Aquilaria species found in the Philippines, and Hansea wenzeliana, also one of the identified endangered species based on the IUCN Red List. For fauna component, 21 vertebrate species were recorded, of which 6 are documented throughout the Mindanao Paeg or the Pleistocene Aggregate Island Complex. And here are some of the photographs of the vertebrate species he recorded from the study site. Just last month, we learned a lot from UPLB Assistant Professor Marjorie de Los Angeles, who discussed about the ecology of understory plants of forest over limestone in Samar Island, Philippines. She documented plant understory species in forest over limestones and described the pattern of plant distribution with reference to ecological parameters using multivariate tools in Paranas, Taft, and Guiuan, Samar. Assistant Professor Marjorie recorded 26 understory floral species divided into 21 flowering species and 6 fern species. Part of her study is to determine the species richness and diversity indices of Paranas, Taft, and Guiuan. In addition, she found that the understory plant species from Paranas and Taft sites are highly affected by soil iron concentration and electrical conductivity, whereas plants from Guiuan are highly associated with soil pH and other macro and micronutrients.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we are here today for the 9th webinar of Kaigangan Biodiversity Series. So I am Diana Shane Balindo from Samar State University, and I will be your host for today. Okay, so again, welcome to the Kaigangan Biodiversity Webinar Series. This webinar aims to raise awareness on the conservation and sustainable use of Kaigangan biodiversity through a series of online talks. As I have said earlier, this is our 9th. Okay, so this is our 9th session for this year, 2025. So thank you very much, especially to those who have completed this 9 sessions. So this webinar is made possible by Conserve Kaigangan, a DOST PCARD-funded research program implemented by the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, in collaboration with Samar State University and, of course, Eastern Samar State University. So to everyone, feel free to greet our colleagues. So you can put your greetings in our Zoom chat box or in FB Live if you are watching us through the Facebook, okay? So we can greet everyone. So include your name, your affiliation, or your location if you don't want to include your affiliation. Okay, so we have here 51 participants. Okay, of course, hindi mawawala sa ating mga participants ang mga taga-UPLB. Okay, so aside from people from UPLB, we also have participants all the way from Sultan Kudarat, State University, and also participants found from South Cotabato in Mindanao. Okay, I wish I could go there some of these days, no? I've never been to South Cotabato. Okay, so welcome po sa lahat. Wala na po bang magpapagreet dyan? So, okay. Oh, we have participants from Qatar. Oh, it's great. So, first time yata na may from Qatar. Are you Filipino, sir? Okay, so, okay, we also have from Tawi-Tawi Regional Agricultural College. So, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for attending. Okay, so before we proceed with our resource person for today, let me again remind everyone for our etiquettes. So first, please keep your microphones muted. Second, you may send your questions using the Zoom or the Facebook chat, and we will accommodate your questions during the question and answer session. And lastly, of course, one of the most important is for you to receive your e-certificate for this webinar, you have to complete a quiz, and after the quiz, there will be a link that will be sent to you for the evaluation. So you have to answer both the quiz and evaluation in order for us to be able to send your e-certificate. So your e-certificate will be sent through the email that you have used in answering the evaluation for this activity. Okay? So again, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to tell us through our chat box or, of course, our Facebook Live. So for today, we have a very matalino and guapong resource person. Okay, so allow me to introduce our speaker for today's webinar. So our speaker is Sir John Ryan Navidad, a forester, a graduate of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, with Bachelor of Science in Forestry and a Master of Science in Forestry, major in Forest Biological Sciences. So he began his research career at the College of Forestry and Natural Resources in UPLB. So he has different projects, including Canopy and USAID-funded Permancor Mangrove Project at UP Diliman. So he co-authored a review paper on the biodiversity of forest over limestone in Southeast Asia and discover one of the new species of Helicia. So interestingly, he was the first research assistant before. So way back in Conserve Kaigangan Program Phase 1, which I was part of. So, and now he's back as the CIP Graduate Fellow of Phase 4, continuing his passion for forest conservation. Okay, so without further ado, let us welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Ryan Navidad. Sir, the floor is yours.
Fellow under the DOST Picard funded program. It's a pleasure to be here to share with you our newly initiated project entitled Propagation and Conservation of Top Priority Plants in the Limestone Forest of Samar Island Natural Park, Philippines. So this is the phase 4 of the Conserve Kaigangan program and marks an exciting new phase in our continuing efforts to protect and restore the unique limestone forest of Samar Island. So since the project is still in its early stages, this presentation will focus on providing an overview of the study. So to give you an idea of what I'll be covering today, first I'll share a brief background on the previous projects, phases 1 to 3, to show how the program started and developed. Next, I'll talk about the background of the study, followed by our methodology per objective or the approaches we plan to use in this ongoing phase. So then I'll present the current and expected outputs, highlighting what we've accomplished so far and what we aim to achieve. And finally, I'll discuss the way forward, outlining our next steps and future directions for the program. Forests over limestones are a fascinating type of ecosystem that grow on rocky landscapes called limestone karst, which are made mostly of calcium carbonate. These areas have shallow, nutrient-poor soils, so only plants with specialized adaptations usually survive here. What's remarkable is that these karst formations make up about 10% of the entire land area of the Philippines, as shown here on the map. So this means a significant portion of our country's natural landscape is shaped by this unique and fragile environment, with well-known examples such as the limestone forests of Palawan, the chocolate hills of Bohol, and the karst landscapes of Samar. These areas highlight how diverse and ecologically important our limestone ecosystems. These limestone forests are more than just rocky green spaces, so they serve as home to variety of plants and animals that can't survive anywhere else. They are adapted to the unique environment of these forests. They also host unique ecological relationships, including specialized pollinators and small habitats that depend entirely on this ecosystem. But beyond biodiversity, these forests also play important roles in regulating water flow, storing carbon, and stabilizing soil. Yet, despite their ecological importance, they remain among the least studied and most threatened habitats in the Philippines, facing pressures from land conversions and human disturbances. One of the biggest threats to limestone forests, especially here in the Philippines, is quarrying, as seen in many recent photos circulating on social media. Large-scale extraction of limestone for cement and construction physically removes the very foundation on which these forests grow, so leaving the land bare and highly vulnerable. In addition, slash and burn farming and land conversion continue to degrade the remaining forest patches. Illegal timber harvesting and wildlife poaching further accelerate biodiversity loss, while ongoing fragmentation makes natural regeneration increasingly difficult. So these combined pressures make limestone forests some of the most fragile and rapidly disappearing ecosystems in the Philippines. Vulnerabilities that are even more evident after recent typhoons, which caused landslides and wash away already weakened forest areas. So understanding the importance and uniqueness of this forest over limestone led to the creation of the Conserve Kaigangan program, a research initiative spearheaded by the University of the Philippines Los Baños. So the program aims to assess and conserve the biodiversity in Kaigangan, which in the local dialect means forest over limestone. So this is to promote its sustainable management in Samar Island, Philippines. So through this ongoing phase, our project continues these long-term conservation efforts by focusing on the propagation and conservation of top priority plant species within the forest over limestone of Samar Island Natural Park. So before discussing our current phase, let's take a quick look back at the earlier stages of the program. So we have here last 2019, It's the phase one of the Conserve Kaigangan program, which focused on the assessment and conservation of forest over limestone ecosystem biodiversity in selected municipalities of Samar. So it consisted of four interconnected projects, where the project one focused on the assessment of biodiversity in the limestone ecosystems. Project 2 conducted an ethnobotanical survey including the usage, validation, and assessment of economically important native plants. Project 3, which examined the taxonomic and functional diversity of soil rhizosphere microbial communities associated with limestone forest. And lastly, we have the Project 4, which centered on community-based conservation of plants found in these ecosystems. So together, these projects laid the scientific and community groundwork that guides our current conservation efforts. So I won't go into the details as I believe these have already been covered in the previous webinars. So in 2022, the program carried out the localized conservation strategies of plant resources in forest over limestone of Summer Island. So this phase laid the groundwork for phase 4 by identifying the top priority plant species for propagation and conservation. Its key objectives were to develop a localized priority index for the top 20 plant resources, map and collect propagules, assess the role of men and women in conservation activities, and draft localized conservation policies in coordination with local agencies and government units. So this output provided the foundation for our current project, guiding the selection of top priority species that we are now propagating and conserving. So in 2024, Phase 3 focused on the riparian zones of the Ulot River within the Samar Island Natural Park. In this phase, they characterized the river's morphology and surrounding land use types. They also conducted biodiversity inventories of plants and animals along the river. And they also assessed ecological and diversity indices across three different sections, which are the upper, middle, and downstream areas of the river. They also examine both natural and human factors influencing species distribution, and identified priority conservation zones using GIS data. So altogether, these findings further strengthen the understanding of the broader ecosystem that supports the limestone forest. So building on the accomplishments and insights from the previous phases of the Conserve Kaigangan program, our team has now moved forward to the next crucial step, focusing not just on the assessment but on action and application. So this brings us to our current project under Phase 4, titled Propagation and Conservation of the Top Priority Plants in the Forest over Limestone of Samar Island Natural Park. So this is a two-year project that started last March 2025 and will run until February of 2027. So through this initiative, we aim to develop practical propagation and conservation strategies for the top priority plant species identified from the earlier phases of the program. So before we dive into the current phase details, let's define first some key terms for better understanding. So first, propagation. Propagation refers to the process of multiplying or reproducing plants. So this can happen sexually through seeds or asexually using methods like cuttings, grafting, or other vegetative techniques. So in the real world, propagation is what allows us or the farmers, gardeners to grow new fruit trees from cutting of a parent tree or to produce multiple ornamental plants from a single seedling. So in conservation, we use propagation to increase the numbers of endangered or rare plant species, ensuring they survive and thrive in their natural habitats. Next, let's define conservation. So conservation refers to the careful management and protection of natural resources, including plants, animals, and ecosystems to ensure their sustainability for the future. So in practical terms, this could mean protecting a forest from logging, restoring degraded habitats, or implementing programs to grow and reintroduce endangered plant species. So, for example, in the Philippines, community based programs often propagate native trees and replant them in deforested areas to restore forest cover while providing benefits to local communities. So, here in our project, conservation is closely linked with propagation as we aim to grow and protect top priority plant species in limestone forest. So moving on to our study area, Our study is specifically situated within the Samar Island Natural Park, or SINP, which is recognized as a center of biodiversity and one of the largest protected areas in the Philippines. So it covers 333,000 hectares, encompassing a wide range of ecosystems such as limestone forests, dipterocarp forests, and riparian zones along rivers. So this park is home to numerous endemic and threatened species, highlighting its critical role in biodiversity conservation. So, as a legally protected area under the National Integrated Protected Areas System, or the NIPAS, SINP provides a strong framework for sustainable management, research, and conservation efforts, serving as an essential natural biodiversity laboratory for projects like ours. So as mentioned earlier, under the Phase 2 of the Conserve Kaigangan program, previous studies by Villanueva et al. And Obeña et al. Documented various plant species from the Kaigangan, or the forest over limestone in Samar. So these species were evaluated using the Localized Conservation Priority Index, or more commonly known as LCPI, developed by Villanueva and Buot. So from that assessment, the top 20 priority plant species were identified based on several factors, including high LCPI values, high harvesting risk, high economic and cultural importance, and low frequency or restricted distribution. So from that, these are the top 20 plant species selected for priority conservation. So as mentioned, these were identified using a point scoring method that ranks plants based on ecological and socio-cultural factors. So by considering both environmental and community aspects, this method ensures that conservation efforts focus on species that are both ecologically important and culturally significant. So of course, in the field, these ranking are still subject to change as we verify populations and availability. So we hope to propagate and conserve most, if not all, of these species. So, but we also have substitute species ready in case some are difficult to source or are found to be equally important for conservation. So, despite the progress achieved in previous phases, significant knowledge gaps remain. So, for most of the top priority species, established propagation methods do not yet exist or is limited, and population sizes of these species are largely undocumented. There is also a lack of practical and low-cost protocols suited to local species and conditions, along with limited data on effective nursery management and community participation in propagation efforts. So these gaps form the foundation and motivation of our current project, which aims to develop science-based strategies to strengthen the propagation and conservation of these top priority plant species in the limestone forest of Samar Island Natural Park. Moving on to our project objectives, the main goal of this research is to develop strategies that increase seed and seedling production through both sexual and asexual propagation methods. So specifically, we aim to identify pre-sowing treatments that will improve the germination and growth, determine propagation treatments that optimize rooting and development of vegetative propagules, and assess the growth performance of wildlings for the available top priority species. Then ultimately, these objectives will allow us to develop practical recommendations that will guide both nursery management and broader conservation efforts in Samar. So for this slide, here's the specific map showing our nursery location in San Isidro, Paranas, Samar. This is where we conduct our experiments and monitor the growth performance of the top priority plant species. So the nursery is managed by one of our local partner organization, the BOSIS, which is very helpful in our project and actively supports our propagation and conservation activities. Now let's move on to the methodology of our project. So in this section, I'll walk you through how we are approaching each of our objectives. So from improving seed germination and testing propagation methods to assessing wildling growth and developing practical conservation recommendations. So this will give you an overview of how our research is structured and how each step contributes to conserving the top priority plants in the limestone forest of SINP. So for this is one of the important part in our study. So we focused on the collection of top priority plant propagules. So what is a propagule? Basically, this is any plant material that can be used to produce a new plant, whether it's a seed, a vegetative part, or a naturally growing young plant. So we focused on including the seeds, wildlings, and cuttings. So seeds are the reproductive units that can grow into new plants. Wildlings, on the other hand, are young plants already growing in the forest. And lastly, the cuttings are the portion of stems, leaves, or roots that can develop into new plants through vegetative propagation. So the optimal collection periods for each type were determined by asking the local and also looking through the literatures. During collection, we recorded key details such as GPS coordinates of the mother trees or the plant where we collected the propagule, and some environmental data including the slope, elevation, soil type, land cover, climate, and also the hydrology of the area. So this careful documentation ensures our propagation work is grounded in accurate field information and sets the foundation for future experiments. So as mentioned, I'll be discussing the methodology per objective. So for objective 1, we will test different pre-sowing treatments to determine which conditions promote the best seed germination and seedling growth. Seeds will be soaked in various treatments for around 12 to 24 hours depending on the type of seeds, and then will be planted in trays or baskets. Germination will be monitored daily or weekly over a period of about 3 months, and seedlings will be transplanted once they develop their first two leaves. We will then record key growth parameters including diameter, height, root length, and leaf dimensions, as well as the number of nursery days until seedlings reach plantable size. So from these observations, we will calculate germination percentage, seedling establishment, and survival rates of the species. This will allow us to identify the most effective pre-sowing treatments for the top priority species. So for objective 2, we will then evaluate treatments to achieve optimal rooting and growth of vegetative propagules. So juvenile shoots will be collected, trimmed and disinfected and dipped in different concentrations of rooting hormones. In our case, we plan to use the ANAA. So before being planted in a mist or clonal chamber. So rooting, shoot sprouting, and survival will be monitored weekly for about 3 months. So once the cuttings have rooted, they will be transplanted into individual bags and we will measure their growth performance and survival. So this will allow us to determine the most effective propagation treatments for these top priority species. So for objective 3, we will assess the growth performance of wildlings. The collected wildlings will be planted in individual bags to help them adapt to the nursery environment and will be treated with growth regulators. So we will then measure the growth parameters, again including the diameter, the height, the leaf dimensions, and we will document survival rates. So this will allow us to evaluate which wildlings establish and grow most successfully. So this will provide us insights for future conservation efforts. So finally, for objective 4, our last objective, we will develop evidence-based recommendations for the conservation of the top priority species. So this will involve reviewing alternative approaches, lessons from relevant studies, and synthesizing insights from our ongoing experiments. So we will identify key strategies for habitat restoration, propagation, and sustainable management of these species. So these recommendations will be formulated in close collaboration with academic institutions, government agencies, and local stakeholders, ensuring that they are practical, context-specific, and scientifically sound. So the ultimate goal is to enhance the population of these species, strengthen ecosystem resilience, and then support the well-being of local communities that rely on this forest. Alright, so now that we've gone through the methods and objectives, let's now move on to what we hope to achieve from this project. So this is our expected outputs and outcomes. So first, we aim to produce propagation and conservation protocols for the top priority plant species. So this will serve as practical guides to ensure their survival and sustainable use. Second, our work will help strengthen both ex situ and in situ in conservation efforts in Summer Island Natural Park, providing science-based solutions for restoring degraded limestone forests. So third, we look forward to empowering local stakeholders and park managers through capacity building and hands-on training, helping them take an active role in conservation. So, and finally, this project will contribute to broader biodiversity conservation initiatives across limestone ecosystems. So we hope to create a lasting benefits not only for the environment but also for the communities that depend on it. So far, our team has completed several key activities that laid the groundwork for this project. So we began with site reconnaissance and coordination meetings with the Protected Area Management Office in Samar. And we also communicated with the local communities there to identify the areas suitable for the collection and monitoring. We also proceeded with the initial collection of propagules or the pre-trials, where we collected seeds, wildlings, and cuttings from selected top priority species, and we carefully documented them and their source and the site conditions. At the same time, we prepared the nursery facilities and the propagation area to ensure that they are ready for the upcoming experiments. So we also have the baseline data organization and monitoring templates are also being set up to guide consistent and data recording. So in the next few slides, I'll walk you through these activities in more detail. So from our fieldwork and nursery preparations to information dissemination and community engagement efforts. So far, we've completed 3 fieldworks for the project and are currently in the collection and trial phase. At this stage, we're primarily working with wildlings as they are the easiest to collect given the seasonal and availability constraints. So during our first fieldwork last June to July, we focused on site reconnaissance. So we revisited monitored sites, photo documented the top priority species, and identified mother trees. We also collected available seeds and seedlings for uh, pre-trials, and we prepared the nursery for the experiments. So on our second fieldwork last August, we focused on wildling collection, phenological observations, and herbarium collections. So we also recorded the fruiting and flowering observations to help understand the reproductive patterns and guide future propagation work. So we also strengthened community partnerships with BOSIS Farm and Torpedo, two of our local partners, and was formalized through a signed agreement. So in our most recent fieldwork last October, we were joined by our project consultant to verify species identification and explore alternative species for propagation, addressing the limited availability of propagules in the field. So this slide highlights some of the key activities we carry out in the nursery. So these are just a few of the many things we usually do, but they represent the major tasks we do here. So here you can see different steps. You can see mixing soil and potting propagules, sorting seeds, wildlings and cuttings, and preparing herbarium specimens. We also conduct soaking treatments for seeds, set up propagation experiments, and monitor the growth of both seedlings and vegetative propagules. So here, we transplant healthy seedlings into individual bags to support their continued growth. So these activities showcase the hands-on work involved in propagation, and of course, moving forward, we hope to expand these efforts, refine our techniques, and further improve survival and growth rates for the propagation and conservation of these limestone forest species. So here I just want to show you a photo of our nursery where we are propagating our top priority species, and hopefully by the end of the project we will have fully populated this nursery and be able to maintain it as a sustainable source of plant materials for conservation efforts. So the other photo just shows our team doing plant pressing for their herbarium, because these specimens are crucial for documentation, research, and long-term conservation planning. So for our SEPA activities or the communication, education, and public awareness, we develop variety of materials to raise awareness and share knowledge about the project. So these include propagation pamphlets where we translated it in both Tagalog and English for better understanding. And we also have the project pamphlets that highlights our objectives and the importance of conserving limestone forest species. We also have here the project fan giveaway, which features the photos of key priority species and essential project information, making it easy for the audience to or the community to engage with our work. So just this October, we also distributed grade school notebooks designed to introduce basic propagation terms and concepts in a fun and accessible way. So this will help our younger audiences learn while fostering early appreciation for plant conservation. So we also conduct webinars and seminars, which is actually what I'm doing right now. So this is part of the Kaigangan Biodiversity webinar series of 2025. So this is held every second Tuesday of the month as one of our Project SEP activities. So just now Monday kasi nagkaroon tayo ng bagyo. So each episode is promoted through publication conducted via Zoom and Facebook Live. So hi to our Zoom and Facebook Live viewers. Participants like you guys come from different parts of the country, including students, faculty, researchers, and representatives from government and non-government agencies. So the main goal of this series is to promote environmental awareness and share research-based knowledge on biodiversity conservation. So just recently, last October, we also held a face-to-face seminar in Samar to introduce the project and participate in the Phase 3 exit seminar. So for this part, I want to discuss the major challenges we encountered. So when it comes to propagation and conservation, it's not always smooth sailing. One of the main challenges we face is the availability of propagules, which I mentioned because sometimes the seeds or the propagules we need are limited or only available at certain seasons, making it hard for us to maintain a consistent propagation or collection effort. Another big challenge is the climate and frequent typhoon. Since we're working in areas that are often hit by strong winds and heavy rains, young plants and seedlings can be easily damaged or washed away, which means we often have to start over or be really careful doing our nursery works. Then of course, last, there are logistical problems. Transporting materials, especially to remote or protected areas, can be quite tricky. Limited access to vehicles, rough terrain, and even budget constraints can delay our fieldwork and restoration activities. Since the forest is on limestone, reaching the sites mean climbing steep and rocky slippery terrain, and fieldwork often took almost the whole day, and returning regularly to monitor the plants is necessary but not easy. But despite these difficulties, these experiences help us refine our strategies and improve planning for future propagation and restoration activities. Moving forward, we plan to continue our fieldwork. Actually, we will be conducting our next fieldwork on December and closely monitor the propagules we have collected, ensuring their survival and growth. We also plan to complete our pre-trials and refine the propagation protocols to improve success rates for our top priority species. And nursery activities will be expanded to support larger scale propagation, providing a reliable source of plant material for restoration and future projects. We also aim to strengthen community engagement, conservation, education, empowering the local stakeholders to actively participate in protecting these forests. And finally, we will prepare publication for submissions to journals, explore collaborative opportunities, and share our findings widely to support broader biodiversity conservation efforts. Before I wrap up, I'd like to take a moment to thank all the people and the organizations who made this project possible. So first, many thanks to DOST Picard for supporting us through the Conserve Kaigangan program. We also extend our gratitude to SINP PAMO for their continued guidance and partnership. We're also grateful to Eastern Samar State University and Samar State University for their technical support and collaboration throughout the project. And of course, we'd like to acknowledge our community partners, Torpedo and BOSIS, for their active participation and local insights that really strengthened our work on the ground. And lastly, to everyone in our research and field team. And to end my presentation, I'd like to read a few lines from a poem I wrote. This is just a simple reminder of why we do what we do and the importance of continuing our efforts in propagation and conservation. So let me just read. Kaigangan ay pangalagaan, atin itong protektahan. Propagasyon at konserbasyon, maaaring solusyon. Tayo'y magtulong-tulong, ngayon ay umaksyon, upang mapakinabangan hanggang sa susunod na henerasyon. Muli, maraming salamat po, and let's continue working together for a greener and more sustainable future. I'm Ryan Navidad, and thanks for listening.
Hey, thank you, Sir Ryan. So thank you so much for that interesting presentation and the overview of propagation and conservation of the top priority plants in SINP. Indeed, this work is an investment for our collective future. By understanding how to propagate these top priority plants is about ensuring the resilience of this ecosystem in the face of environmental change. It's truly forward thinking science that we are doing here right now. Okay, so if you have any questions about the presentation of Forester Navidad, please leave them in the Zoom chat box or in the comment section of our Facebook Live. Now we will proceed to answer some questions from the audience. So let me call on Ms. Anne Frances Buhay to moderate the open forum session.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Diane, for introducing Sir Ryan, and of course for giving us an overview of what we have heard and what we have seen from the presentation. May I also just acknowledge that Ma'am Diane led the project 4 of the phase 1 Conserve Kaigangan program. So the nursery that you have seen from the presentation of Ryan was initially started by Ma'am Diane's team during the phase 1 of the Conserve Kaigangan program. Also, we'd like to acknowledge Ma'am Edeline Echapare, also from Samar State University, and Ma'am Nova Hilbano from Eastern Samar State University, who is with us here today in this webinar series. Okay, so we encourage everyone to share any questions that you may have for our speaker, and we're happy to address them. So let's first start with the questions that were submitted during the registration. So the first question is from Marvin M. Tejada from the Philippine Institute of Environmental Planners, Qatar chapter. His question is, how can we truly involve community participation in the upkeep and protection of our ecosystems biodiversity? Sir Ryan?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yeah. So for the question, I think there are many ways to truly involve communities in protecting our ecosystem biodiversity. So for me, it begins with building awareness, of course, helping people understand what needs to be protected and why these species matter. So and how healthy ecosystem could benefit their daily lives. So of course, we have the awareness campaigns, simple orientations, and sharing success stories are powerful starting points. So in the context of our project, we partner with local organizations and community members, as mentioned, not just for support, but also as active participants. So we partnered with BOCIS and Torpedo. They help us identify species, collect propagules, and monitor our planted sites. So their familiarity with the landscapes strengthens our propagation work, and their involvement builds long-term stewardship. So community participation becomes real when people are informed and included and empowered to take part in the entire process from the awareness and to actual propagation.
Okay, thank you very much, Ryan, for that answer. He also, Sir Marvin Tejada also has a follow-up question. And not actually a follow-up question, but a question during your talk. So his question is, do you consider donating those species for conservation to an international seed bank? He also mentioned, for the reason that Summer Island is being battered by climate-induced impacts that may disseminate the population of native plant species and endanger their survival to a new climate reality.
Mm. So far, based on our proposal, we haven't planned to donate these species to an international seed bank, but since our main focus right now is establishing and managing the nursery and ensuring successful local propagation. But yes, Sir Marvin, thank you. That's a very good idea. And because depositing seeds in an international seed bank could serve as an additional safeguard, of course, for these top priority species, especially those that are rare or at high risk of overharvesting. So in the future, maybe once we have enough healthy propagules and data on their growth and survival, collaborating with seed banks, of course, could help secure these species globally while still supporting local conservation efforts. So thank you so much for that idea.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Ryan. Okay, so let's ask another question from the registration. Here we have from Ma'am Baby Jean Herbalario from Tarlac Agricultural University. Her question is, what are the main challenges in propagating top priority plant species found in limestone forests?
Main challenges. There are several challenges in propagating the top priority plant species in limestone forest. But for the main challenges, I think first is the timing of collection. As we have done already 3 field works, the timing of collection is difficult because many of these species are highly seasonal. If we miss the fruiting or the seed drop period, we need to wait months before we can collect viable propagules. So another one is the accessibility. Of course, our field sites, as mentioned, are really mabato. And reaching the mother trees can be tough due to the steep areas, sharp rocks, and long hikes. And also the harsh conditions in the limestone forest affects both the collection and propagation. But these challenges make the work difficult, but also they push us to understand these species better for effective conservation.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Ryan. Okay, we have another question from the Zoom chat. Sir Wilson De Panis, he says, good day. Will you consider utilizing bioinoculants like mycorrhiza to improve plant growth and resistance against soil-borne diseases?
Sorry, again, can you repeat the question?
His question is, will you consider utilizing bioinoculants like mycorrhiza to improve plant growth and resistance against soil-borne diseases?
So far, what we're currently using is the ANAA, which is a rooting growth hormone, especially for species that have difficult to root through cuttings. But for the bioinoculants, it's not under our proposal, but I think we'll evaluate the effectiveness since we're on the pre-trial phase. And their benefits depend on, I think, the compatibility with the host plant and the existing microbial community. So yeah, we prefer to assess the field data before adoption. But for now, we're currently using growth regulators, in short, or the ANAA, since that's what the local people there use. And so we use the same material and makes our method more practical, I think, and easier to adapt. But yeah, we'll look into that by using the bioinoculants like mycorrhiza.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Ryan. Again, let's give a warm of applause to Forester Ryan Navidad for his presentation and for answering the questions that you have, for the clarifications from our participants. As much as we want to accommodate all your questions, but due to our limited time that we have, we will now move on to the next part of the webinar, which is the awarding of certificates. So if you want to ask more questions, you can always send us a message on our group or on our Facebook group, and you can also email us so we can forward that questions to Sir Ryan, and then he will answer some of their questions that you have. So for the Certificate of Appreciation, let me just read the citations. This Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Forester John Ryan L. Navidad in recognition of your valuable contribution as a resource speaker for the webinar entitled Propagation and Conservation of Top Priority Plants in Limestone Forest of Samar Island Natural Park, Philippines, an overview, conducted under the Conserve Kaigangan Biodiversity Webinar Series on the 17th of November, 2025 via Zoom, signed Dr. Maria Celeste and Manetikla Hilario, Project Leader. Okay, so next slide, please. Again, thank you very much, Sir Ryan. Let's give him a virtual applause and like and reactions for his presentation. Thank you, Ryan. And of course, for our next webinar, we would like to invite you once again for our last, of course, not but not the least, but last webinar episode for this year on December 9, 2025 at 10 to 11 again a.m. via Zoom. Our project leader, Dr. Maria Celeste Paneticla Hilario, will present the riparian ficus diversity along the Ulot River in Samar Island Natural Park. So the registration link is will be provided here on the Zoom chat and of course on our Facebook page. So do register so that you will receive the announcement in the Zoom link for this webinar series. And next, so may we request everyone to open their video for the photo documentation of this episode.
Morning po. Makiki-open po ang mga camera niyo po. Ready po? Meron tayong 3 slides. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Next po. And 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay po, last one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Steph. Again, thank you once again, everyone, for joining our Kaigangan Biodiversity webinar series. And we hope that we will see you again next month. And for the quiz, okay, let me just give a quick reminder. To receive your e-certificate for this event, please remember to complete the quiz. And the quiz link will be posted in both Zoom and on Facebook chat. And at the end of this program. And once you have submitted the quiz, the evaluation link will appear together with the confirmation that you have finished or that you have submitted the quiz. And your e-certificate will be sent to the email address you provided on the evaluation link. So make sure that your name and your email addresses are valid and correct. So just wait for the link. I will just send a copy here. Okay, so the quiz link is now provided on the Zoom chat, and I will also copy and paste it on the Facebook page. So thank you once again, our participants, and of course our speaker, Sir Ryan, for giving us the presentation overview of our project of the Conserve Kaigangan Initiative, and we would love to see you again next month. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone.
Samar Island is the third largest island in the Philippines and has one of the most extensive forest over limestone ecosystems in the country. This ecosystem is home to a wide array of uniquely adapted flora and fauna. Samar Island is known to be one of the centers of botanical diversity in the Philippines and has been nominated as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site for its exceptional natural beauty and precious biodiversity. For these reasons, Conserve Kaigangan, a biodiversity research program, was established. Kaigangan is a Samar local word that means forest over limestone. Our research program's mission is to assess and conserve the biodiversity in Samar Island's forest over limestone towards its sustainable management. One of our program's projects is the assessment of biodiversity and community structure in forest over limestone ecosystems. This component of our research aims to determine plant diversity and vegetation structure in various habitat types in forests over limestone, to determine animal diversity associated with forest over limestone, to identify functional classification of vegetation with its associated animal diversity, and to analyze the environmental factors influencing the prevailing structure of the biota. We conducted a comprehensive biodiversity assessment of forests over limestone in the municipalities of Paranas, Taft, and Giwan with remarkable findings. A combined total of 71 plant species were recorded from these municipalities, with at least 3 tree species classified as vulnerable based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine plants. A total of 52 terrestrial vertebrate animal species were also recorded, including 5 amphibian species, 15 reptile species, 20 bird species, and 12 mammal species with conservation statuses ranging from threatened to endangered and critically endangered, based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine fauna. This knowledge will empower our stakeholders in these areas to make appropriate research-based conservation efforts for the protection of these ecosystems that harbor an assemblage of rare, endemic, and economically important flora and fauna. Through this program, people will be equipped with knowledge on forests over limestone biodiversity, including the ecosystem services that it can offer to the community. We at Conserve Kaigangan continue to further raise awareness and capacitate national and local government agencies, especially local communities living in and around Samar's Kaigangan. Samar Island is the third largest island in the Philippines and has one of the most extensive forest over limestone ecosystems in the country. This ecosystem is home to a wide array of uniquely adapted flora and fauna. Samar Island is known to be one of the centers of botanical diversity in the Philippines and has been nominated as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site for its exceptional natural beauty and precious biodiversity. For these reasons, Conserve Kaigangan, a biodiversity research program, was established. Kaigangan is a Samar local word that means forest over limestone. Our research program's mission is to assess and conserve the biodiversity in Samar Island's forest over limestone towards its sustainable management. One of our program's projects is the assessment of biodiversity and community structure in forest over limestone ecosystems. This component of our research aims to determine plant diversity and vegetation structure in various habitat types in forests over limestone, to determine animal diversity associated with forest over limestone, to identify functional classification of vegetation with its associated animal diversity, and to analyze the environmental factors influencing the prevailing structure of the biota. We conducted a comprehensive biodiversity assessment of forests over limestone in the municipalities of Paranas, Taft, and Giwan with remarkable findings. A combined total of 71 plant species were recorded from these municipalities, with at least 3 tree species classified as vulnerable based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine plants. A total of 52 terrestrial vertebrate animal species were also recorded, including 5 amphibian species, 15 reptile species, 20 bird species, and 12 mammal species with conservation statuses ranging from threatened to endangered and critically endangered, based on the DENR updated national list of threatened Philippine fauna. This knowledge will empower our stakeholders in these areas to make appropriate research-based conservation efforts for the protection of these ecosystems that harbor an assemblage of rare, endemic, and economically important flora and fauna. Through this program, people will be equipped with knowledge on forest over limestone biodiversity, including the ecosystem services that it can offer to the community. We at Conserve Kaigangan continue to further raise awareness and capacitate national and local government agencies, especially local communities living in and around Samar's Kaigangan.